So today we're going to be installing a remote macerator switch on my Roadtrek 2007 Chevy Chassis 210P using an ATV winch switch. The problem we're trying to solve here is that the macerator switch is on the door frame of the Roadtrek, and so you have to stand there by the door, press the switch, and it's just really inconvenient. You certainly have a lot of difficulty doing a single person dump. If there was a remote switch, which is what we're going to discuss here, now doing a single person dump is really easy peasy. So this is probably the easiest modification I've done to my Roadtrek. There's a handheld remote I found that was great. What I really loved about the remote is it comes complete with all of the parts you need, except for a couple spade lugs. You'll also need some solder or a crimper, some electrical tape, and some self-tapping screws. I use number 10 to mount one of the connectors to the Roadtrek. You also will be drilling a 1-inch hole in the Roadtrek as well, so you'll need a 1-inch metal drill hole saw. The hole saw on most of these things are available from Home Depot. The handheld remote is available at Amazon.com. Here's what the final installation looks like. Now, so one thing that's really nice here is I did leave the original macerator switch as a backup, so you don't actually have to get this remote switch out of the box unless you really want to. If you're just doing a quick dump, you can just use the same switch. Also, if you lose the switch or it breaks, you still have the macerator switch that was supplied with the Roadtrek originally. Here's a picture of the handle of the device. You'll notice it's labeled in and out. So what I did was I tied both the in and out together so that no matter which way you press the switch, it's going to run the macerator. As you can see, you get a complete assembly. You get the connector, you get all the wiring. We're actually going to chop off most of this wiring here just in a moment and use very, very little of the wiring. Alright, so the first step is going to be to cut off most of the wiring off the connector. And what we're going to do now is put a spade lug on the red wire, and we're going to take then the green and black wire, tie them together, and then connect them to the spade lug. So what that's going to allow us to do, as I say, is the button is pressed, it's going to run the macerator. So it probably goes without saying, but make sure that you leave enough cable here and that you've really figured out where the connector is going to go first so that you can have the right length. I almost made it a little too short, so you can actually stuff this wire back inside the door frame quite a ways. So I would err on the side of making it a little longer than definitely making it a little shorter. So the first thing I actually wound up doing was making a small block of styrofoam that would be about the size of this connector and dust cap, so that I could try it in various places on the door frame and make sure the door would close. This is a spot I found. Your mileage may vary, so make sure wherever you put this thing, you do have enough room and enough clearance that when the door closes, it's all going to fit. Drill a 1-inch hole with your hole saw, and then mark where the number 10 screws need to go. I use self-tapping. That seemed to work out really nicely. Number 10 seemed about the right size. Mount the thing in and drop the wires back down the door frame. Okay, so here's something important. Before you pull the macerator switch out, be sure you have your master switch off in the coach. We definitely don't want to have any sparks and other badness going on here. Alrighty, so now we've fished our wires out of the hole where the original macerator switch was and connected them. I just connected the red wire to the red wire, and then also the black and green wire to the other wire, which I think is colored black on the switch. And you're kind of good to go. Retape, push the switch back in, reinstall your 2 screws, and you are done. So maybe just a note that you do need to be careful that you don't slam the door on the connector while it's installed. And also let me re-emphasize that you turn the coach switch off before you do any of this. Make sure that master switch is off so that we don't have any sparks and wind up replacing a bunch of fuses. So now you have it. Doing a one-person dump is really easy now. Particularly I use this in conjunction with a 21-foot hose that we also added that you can find in another video, and it will that way you can walk right on out to where the handle is and see what's going on, and it just works out really well. So there you go. Thank you very much for listening.